back, everyone, to Kilmeade Friends. We have a big agenda this hour, and we got to take your calls at 1-8. I see you on the board already. 1-866-408-7669. Chris Walden, 20 minutes. But right now, we're privileged to have with us Congressman Greg Walden, Republican out of Oregon and chairman of the NRCC, in charge of increasing that advantage they have in the House for Republicans. Welcome back, Congressman.
Hey, Brian, good to be with you this morning as we're now less than 3 weeks out. What, about 18 days or something?
Yeah, now listen, the breaking news just coming across. I want to get your reaction. Ron Klain will now be the new Ebola czar. The White House took at least 3 weeks, maybe more, but they finally put one person in charge. What can you tell me? How do you feel about that? Number one, the choice. Do you know him?
Don't know him, but it's about time somebody was in charge because, look, this is a humanitarian crisis of epic proportion. And unlike the bungling of dealing with post-Katrina, everybody in St. Paul or Cheyenne knew that a hurricane couldn't reach there, but Ebola can. You see what's happening in Cleveland and around. The administration was slow to respond. The CDC fumbled it. And there's just a real problem here that they have not been willing to address. And it's just another failure of this administration in my book. We've seen it time and again with the IRS, Benghazi, how they treated veterans. You're supposed to manage when you're the president. The buck stops at your desk. And I don't think they've been on top of this one.
I want to talk about what life will be like if there's a Republican majority in the Senate, what it'll be for those 300-plus bills you sent there. But first things first, our audience loves the races, the horse race. In Arizona, you bring us to Andy Tobin against Congresswoman Ann Kirkpatrick. What do you think's at stake there? We have Kirkpatrick trailing Tobin by 6.
Yeah, I think that's right. Andy, Speaker of the House, has been a real leader for Arizona, understands how to run a race and how to govern, both of which are essential to get America on track. Andy's running a great race. Kirkpatrick didn't have a primary. Andy had a multi-way primary, so he needs money. But Andy Tobin in Arizona is doing a great job, and I think we will win that seat. That's one of our red zone seats. We're a Democrat sitting in a seat that George Bush, John McCain, and Mitt Romney all won.
Right, but Arizona's tougher and tougher for you guys on the Republican Party. Maine, an open seat. You have Bruce Poliquin against Emily Kane. That is all your guy. Poliquin up by 10.
Yeah, there are a couple of polls there.
And Obama won that state.
Obama's won that seat. We've won this seat way, way long ago, but Bruce Poliquin is an incredible human story, incredible leader, businessman. He's been state treasurer of Maine, a very, very good candidate, doing a great job, and I think we win there. I mean, Emily is just too liberal. She's no Michaud. She's very liberal voting record, and I think too liberal for Maine. Susan Collins is backing Bruce Poliquin, and I think we pick up a seat in Maine.
Right, in Minnesota, the home of Al Franken, Westrom up on Peterson by a percentage point, and Westrom being the Republican challenger.
Yeah, and this is big because we've been after this seat for some time. Again, one of those seats that all the 3 last Republican candidates for presidents carried, but we've had a Democrat there with Colin Peterson. He hasn't had a tough race since 1994. We began to point out to his voters just what he'd been doing and how he'd been voting, and they've been falling away and falling away. We figured this one would close late. It is. Tory Peterson, great story. He's a state senator, state rep before that. Blinded in a farm vehicle rollover accident when he was 14, put himself through school, through law school. Incredible leader in the state assembly there, and now has moved ahead.
Right, and I just want, if you have a chance, if you expand your lead in the House, and then you have the majority as a Republican in the Senate, what bills do you think are going to be highlighted? All 300 that you put there? I mean, you wouldn't have the 60 votes, so not everything gets done. But what do you need on the president's desk?
We need to show America we can govern. We need to create jobs. So I think our jobs bills will be first. That's Keystone Pipeline. That's issues dealing with energy production. We've passed multiple bills, 40, I think. There are 40 that are led by Democrats that have passed the House because they're good policy. And so our goal would be to take those that have strong bipartisan support, that Harry Reid has blocked from even having an up or down vote in the Senate, bring them to the floor of the House, bring them to the floor of the Senate. We'll work with the president if he'll work with us. We'll put him on his desk if he won't. We got to get America on track. We got to fix the problems in Washington, and people expect us to solve them.
Right.
And that's what we'll do.
Because, Congressman Walden, as you know, it's going to be a lot harder to keep the Senate in 2 years, especially if you don't get it now. It's probably not going to happen. So you have to, if Republicans want to keep it, they have to produce. So there's going to be a lot of pressure. Correct. One day to celebrate, and then it's to work.
Yeah, I don't even know if we get a full day, Brian. The other point I would make is, remember in the House, we are playing deep in blue territory. This is like the AstroTurf in Boise, This is really blue where we are now. Democrats are on full retreat because they realize what the president said is true. His policies are on the ballot. He's not. It's a referendum on a failed administration, and things are out of control. I mean, I don't know about you, Brian. I get up in the morning, I wonder, what wheel came off today? We see that with Ebola. We've seen it with ISIS. We've seen it just across the map. And I think people are saying, enough's enough. We're going to send a message. We want to check and balance. We want to try something new in Washington. And I hope they give us a majority in the Senate so we can build our majority in the House and govern for the country.
Do you think that there should be a leadership change or a challenge if Republicans keep the House?
In the Senate, yeah. They ought to
what about the House?
Reid.
What about the House?
I get rid of Harry Reid in the Senate. No, I don't. John Boehner's done a terrific job working in the toughest job in Washington. Can you imagine every day you go to work, you have to negotiate with Harry Reid and Barack Obama?
The problem is you don't. Nobody talks to anybody, so it's not that bad. Congressman Greg Walden, good luck. You're a busy guy. Thanks for some moments for me and the audience.
You got it. Take care.
All right, back with your calls next.